Hello, everyone, and welcome to Why I Love Rainbow Six Siege. Today, I'm going to be talking about Rainbow Six and what makes it so good, and why I think it's one of the best FPS games you can probably buy right now on Steam, Uplay, or whichever DRM you use. Now, before we get started and go into the thick of it, I would like to preface this by saying that I understand everyone's taste in gaming is different. Not everybody likes the same games, and this is just my opinion and my observations during my time playing this game. Now, let us begin. I'm going to be going over three basic points in this video, and that is the concept, the gameplay, and the future content slash support that this game is receiving. First, let's begin with the concept. Basically, Rainbow isn't anything new in the market. It's a tactical FPS game, and we've seen hundreds of these kinds of games, and they're usually all the same, bland. We all know the formula for a tactical FPS game. We've seen it. But Rainbow is special in a few ways, and at least in my mind, from all the time I've spent playing, I've noticed two primary things that separate it from most tactical shooters. The first thing is that Rainbow just feels good in a sense that it feels smooth and fluid. Your character moves as expected, depending on their armor rating and speed rating. It just feels, right. When you play Ash or you play Capitao, who has, 3 speed and 1 armor, you really do feel fast and, quick compared to if you're playing a Fuse or a Monty. You feel very slow, and every step shakes your character left and right, and your field of view shakes a little bit with every step because you're just wearing so much armor and this heavy shield. Just the way you move is very satisfying. I know that sounds strange, but you really have to play the game to experience it. As well, the lean mechanic in the game is probably the best I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, it just feels very nice, very good. Uh, Quick peeking is a little bit of an issue that we have in the game, but I think it should stay in the game. I don't think Ubisoft should remove it because I think it's a skill that separates average gamers from, or average players, I should say, from the good players. It's a skill that you have to learn over a long period of time. But for the most part, the game feels very satisfying just in the movement and the way your character just behaves. Um, and second thing is that the characters are what make this game, a little bit special. It's very rare to see a tactical FPS games, with heroes, or as they're called in Rainbow, operators. Usually in a tactical FPS game or in an FPS game in general, you're thrown in as this X soldier who has to kill these Y soldiers, and it's just bland, and you're this bald guy with a helmet and sunglasses on, having an all-out deathmatch domination, whatever the hell it is. In Rainbow, that's not the case. Every operator is unique in not only their ability but in their personality. And it is so rare to see a game where heroes are well balanced. They're just, in general, Rainbow is a pretty well balanced game. Now, of course, there have been a few hiccups. Mainly, I've experienced the hell that was Ella, and though that was my only experience with it, I have to say it wasn't that bad. I did hear from a few of my friends who've been playing this game, since the beginning. They said Blackbeard was probably the worst operator on release, but I wasn't playing the game at the time. Now, are all the characters perfectly balanced? No, of course. You're never gonna have that. But with the fact that one bullet to the head is an instant kill, it kind of makes everyone viable with good enough aim, and any operator can work really if your aim is good enough. And every single operator's gadget has a purpose. If you look at some of the most how do I say, non-viable, I guess, characters in Rainbow, you could say it's Castle and Capcan. They still have their purpose, and they can still be super useful if you play them correctly. Castle can decide, all right, this is the room I'm gonna hunker down in and hold, and it can be a room that's very important that has a breachable wall that the enemy team wants to get to, but it's just a very difficult choice because you can't flank him without him knowing, because he's got fucking castle barricades on every door. uh, so Castle can be useful even though he's considered to be one of the weakest operators in the game. Same with Capcan. His traps can be used in many different ways, in alerting him, in stopping them from planting, or killing them as they go into the objective room. They have their purpose. Now, of course, some operators are stronger than other. I'm not gonna sit here and say every operator is equally as good as you know other. For example, if you take Jaeger or Bandit and compare them to someone like Capcan, it's clear who in most situations is a better operator. But the thing is, they both fill different kinds of roles, so you can't really even compare them on that level. But if you ask most people which operator they think is better, they'd probably say Jaeger every day, or Bandit. Now, the other thing that makes the operators incredibly good in Rainbow is that, honestly, it's the story behind them, and the character they have without even it's so strange. Rainbow doesn't have a story mode, okay? There's no campaign. There's only these situations that kind of reinstate why Rainbow is back. The team, Rainbow Six, why it's reestablished. Because if I understand correctly, in the previous game, the team Rainbow Six was disavowed or something like that. I didn't play the previous game. I just heard this in rumors. But basically, situations tell you why they're back. But there's no story mode. Only recently have we had the outbreak mode, but that didn't really tell a story about the operators. It just told a story about the outbreak of these zombies or whatever they were. But let me continue on the topic that the characters are just there's so much story behind them without a story mode. And what I mean by that is that they feel very rich in lore, and it's because of the fact that we get so little story from them. We only get little snippets and tidbits from their bios and from little voice lines they say in the game. And the things that are written, if you go into operators and you pick an operator, you go in their bio, you can read it, and there's a little bit of sprinkle of lore and things that have happened through their lives. They've definitely gotten better with it. If you go read, like Sledge's lore, it's pretty simple, and you can go read Lions or Finkas now. They're pretty complex, or Vigils or Ella's, Zophia's, whatever. They're pretty complex. But it's also the fact that Ubisoft is also throwing these little breadcrumbs for us to just follow. And some examples of it is like Blackbeard and Vigils being best friends. You can read in his bio about it. Zofia and Ella's relationship, their hatred, Ella's hatred for her father because he loved Zofia more. Doc and Finka and their, kind of secret where they're trying to hide Finka's, disability. I'm not sure if it's a disability, but her disease away from the rest of the team so that she can continue to fight. Lion as well. We have Lion and Twitch, and their history where Twitch didn't really wasn't on the best foot with Lion, but she still helped him with the drone. And then we have Fuse and Ying, who disagree on their methods of handling hostage situations and things like that. It's just small things like that that really make me, and I think a lot of other people think, there has to be this incredible and interesting story behind these operators. I mean, I just want them to make a campaign mode so that I can just experience what these characters I play every day for so long I just want to know more about them. I want a story mode so bad. Now, the next thing is the gameplay. The gameplay in Rainbow Six is by far the biggest factor that differentiates it, in my opinion, from most games or most tactical FPS games. And to explain further, it's when you combine well balanced operators in general with smooth and fluid gameplay, you already have a good game on your hands, right? Um, but the maps of Rainbow are what make or break the game for me. Maps are probably the most difficult thing to learn in this. Are certainly the most difficult thing to learn in this game, and probably one of the most difficult things to learn in gaming in general, or in most at least FPS games. The maps are just so complex. You know, let me explain. For the person who's never played Rainbow, I'm gonna explain this. In most maps, you have this building. It's some sort of building with multiple stories, and you have two roles: either you're attacking or defending this biohazard container, or hostage, or your bombs, basically, depending on the game mode that you're playing. Now, this doesn't sound too bad, so far, but when you add destructible and non-destructible walls, hatches in the ceilings, plus floors that are semi-breachable, other floors that aren't breachable, spawn peaks, runouts, rotation holes, and rotation hatches, drone placements, murder holes, things get a bit complicated, and there's so much to learn in the game that it really there's so much to learn in Rainbow Six Siege before you can, consider yourself a good player. It's a true process of getting good at this game, but it is definitely a process that's worth going through. I mean, underneath all of this, steep and sharp learning curve, because when you play your first Rainbow Six Siege game, you're gonna suck. It's just a matter of fact, right? Unless you played CS:GO, because then you'll do pretty good in gunfights. But the maps will fuck you. They will fuck you. They will bend you over and they will rape you. Well, people who know the map, not the maps itself. But underneath all of that, there is just this amazing game that's so worth your time and it is so worth your money. I mean, just it's an amazing game. Uh, Second, the maps, of course, aren't the whole. They're not the whole thing, right? I know someone's gonna ask, well, what's the game, gunplay like? Like, how does it feel to shoot other people? Um, Gunplay for the most part is very quick and you die very quick, especially with the fact that one shot to the head will kill you. Most operators that are one or two speed will die within 3 or 4 shots, and the guns usually have around 600 to 800 rate of fire, so you die really quickly. Unless you're like Rook with armor, then you can take like 5 hits to the chest, I think. Um, but if you want to be successful in Rainbow Six Siege, you can't just focus on your gun skill. Um, I have this kind of list of 3 things, that go in by ranking how to win more gunfights or how to, win gunfights. The first and most important thing is to outsmart your opponent. This is a skill that you're going to learn over time. It's not something that's going to come to you naturally. It's not something that you're going to, just start playing the game and now you're outsmarting opponents. It's something that will come to you with time. You will learn how to outsmart your opponent through knowing the maps, through seeing, oh, okay, this guy ran out through there. I'll do that next time, when the enemies are attacking here. Or, oh, there's a hatch there. I could have opened that and jumped through into the objective and, started securing, or could have gotten off that plant. There's lots of little things that you're going to learn over time. And basically, this skill of outsmarting your opponent just comes with a lot of time and a lot of play, a lot of failed plays primarily. You're gonna mess up more times than you're gonna succeed in the beginning by a huge margin, and you're only gonna learn how to outsmart your opponents by playing and by trying different things. And the second thing that comes after outsmarting your opponents as the most important thing to winning gunfights is your droning slash sound whoring abilities. What I mean by this is, for attackers they have the droning and sound whoring part. For defenders, you have only the I guess, sound whoring part, but there's also a little bit of gameplay between how defenders should treat drones. Every time you get drone, you should probably move. Unless you really have a tight angle, but 90% of the time, you should just move so that the enemy can't pre-fire you and instantly kill you. Um, but droning and learning how to drone and how to sound whore well and how the sound works in this game, because it works a little bit differently than in most games. I might go in depth in that in a different video, but basically, sound travels in that game like it would in real life. Like in Call of Duty, someone might be walking, behind a wall, and you'll hear them exactly where they're coming from. In this game, you'll hear them from the closest doorway because sound travels. It's complicated. I might explain it in a different video, but not this one. But these are skills that will come to you pretty quickly, in my opinion, or they should. Sound whoring takes a little bit of finesse to get used to, especially if you play different games while playing Rainbow Six Siege. It can definitely get confusing. And third and finally is your actual gun skill and accuracy, and the knowledge of how you should peek and when you should slow peek, when you should quick peek, and how to push the angles in your advantage. Um, like gun skill will only get you so far in this game. Strategy and game knowledge is way more powerful than anything else. Someone can have the fastest, most pixel perfect accuracy in this game, and it won't mean anything if if you sneak up behind them and just headshot them. It doesn't mean nothing. They could if you face them forward in a gunfight, they instantly kill you. They could have hacks, but if you sneak up behind them and shoot them in the head, they're dead. You simply can't, blindly rush in this game. You have to think as you play and think on your feet, and that's what makes this game, as great as it is. There's just no better feeling I've had in gaming, at least. Uh, when you outsmart your enemy and you win your gunfights and you win a round. Because you saw what the enemy was doing, you knew what they were gonna do, and you said, "Aha, all right, they're gonna do X, Y, Z. I'm gonna counter it with that." Let's say they're trying to get a hatch in Chalet, not a hatch, the garage door in Chalet. So you open up the window above garage and throw a C4 and get a 3 frag. It's things like that that make you feel really happy. Not because you got a bunch of kills necessarily, but because you thought ahead. You outthought your opponent, and that's what really makes you feel good in this game, or at least to me. I mean, as well, the game just, constantly pulls you in each round because of the story that it creates. I can't tell you how many times I've, told my girlfriend or told my friends, "Oh, dude, you wouldn't believe last night I was playing Rainbow and this idiot fucking, spawn peeked me from this area. I'll show it to you tomorrow. It is an insane angle." Or, "Oh, yesterday I had this epic 1v3. I saved the match." Or, I had this epic ace with Ash, or whatever it was. There's always some sort of story, that you can tell your friends of how you overcame some certain obstacle, either defending or attacking. And that's what keeps me coming, and that's what keeps a lot of people coming. The fact that every game is something, where you don't know exactly what's gonna happen. That excitement is sort of what, keeps you coming. I mean, of course, let me be clear, no game is perfect, and Rainbow's no exception. There are a few, flaws to the game, and a few abuse, ways that the mechanics in the game are abused. For example, the biggest problems so far was drop shotting. Drop shotting was considered to be, a very cheap way to win gunfights. Y'all know what drop shotting is if you've played any FPS game. I'm not gonna explain it. But basically, in Rainbow, you can drop shot without losing any accuracy, which really isn't that tactical and it really isn't that realistic. And a lot of people who play Rainbow like the realistic factor in all of this. So, it was a pretty huge issue. Right now, we have a solution that's coming on the test servers that you can aim down the sights while going prone. So, it's kind of gonna slow down drop shotters, in my opinion. We'll see how effective it is, but it really shows that the dev team is so committed to improving this game, even on one of its biggest weaknesses, which was drop shotting. Because other than drop shotting, what other game, mechanics are a problem? I mean, you could say quick peeking is a problem, but you can't fix that. You can only fix that if you give everyone Google Fiber connections. That they have like a 13 ping. You know, there's not much you can do. I guess you could slow down the time it takes to lean, but that's just stupid in my opinion. Uh, and I like kind of the quick being exists. It's a mechanic that separates good and bad players. Um, in general, I'd say the gameplay is some of the best I've ever seen in any FPS game that I've played. And I've played quite a bit of FPS games. I'd say, FPS is probably my favorite genre of video games by far. But, Rainbow isn't only successful because of its gameplay or because of its concept and its lore and its, interesting characters. A lot of it has come from the support. And that ties into my third point, which is the future content and support of Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow is at this point, notorious for the comeback it's made. It started as this weird downgraded Ubisoft FPS shooter with a weird destruction mechanic. It had only a few thousand players online on PC. Um, and today, when you look at what it's become a well polished game, considered to be probably one of the best FPS games you can, buy right now on Steam or Uplay, wherever you like to, get your games. With an average of 100,000 people playing on PC alone, um, I mean, this epic comeback is a product of Ubisoft's dedication and, unwillingness to give up on this project. They kept, pumping in the time and the effort with new maps and operators, mid-season reinforcements, and patch updates and, bug fixes, so on and so forth. There's been just so much effort put into this game that I had no idea until I started playing the game and, started looking at YouTube videos and exploring a little bit. But it's pretty incredible how much effort was put into this game and how much effort Ubisoft put into it to bring it back to life. And it clearly, paid off big time as they've, made a good bit of money from this game. Um, it just shows that, gamers are willing to recognize your hard work. And truly, Rainbow is one of the shining examples of how, if you don't give up on a project, it can still succeed. For everyone that's right now considering buying Rainbow Six Siege but isn't sure, look, the game's going to be, supported for 10 years. So you got some time, to still think about it. But I feel like you should really hop on the train right now if you're considering it. I've been playing this game for about 3 months now with approximately 400 hours in it. So I've played this game quite a bit. I got kind of addicted, I'll be honest. Um, the ride was in the beginning very rough, and I'm not gonna lie, like it's gonna be, a fun journey. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be difficult for you to learn the maps, difficult to adjust. But once you get over that first, bump, uh, uh, you know, it gets a lot easier, and it's definitely worth it. That initial, bump and problems, understanding the maps and getting killed will last for the first month. But then you're pretty much off the hook, and you've learned most of the maps that are in rotation, and you'll be pretty good at this game. I really do encourage people to play this game, to buy it. Ubisoft really outdid themselves this time with the support they've provided for this game and the support they will provide for this game. They really do deserve the money, and the game is like $30, I think, or 40. I'm not sure. I think it's 30. um, Also, any tip for people out there who are thinking of buying the game: do not buy the starter edition. Buy the full edition. It's worth it. Trust me. Don't pay the $30 or $40 that it is for the regular edition, and then pay another €30 to get all of the DLC operatives because you don't want to grind for them. It's just too long to grind for it. Just buy them. It's worth it. You'll have a bunch of fun. Trust me. It's definitely worth it. It's a leap you should take. Take this leap. Trust me. If you need, some tips, some help, I'm not the best player in this world. I'm a, gold 3 to gold 2 player. I'm nothing special. But I'm willing to help. I'll probably make, soon a tips and tricks video, some beginner tips. I just want to see people play this game, and I want to see people enjoy this game and love this game, and I want to see this community grow. And just, if I can influence someone to buy this amazing game and try it out, I'll feel good about myself because you know, it's what I'm here to do. I'm here to encourage people to spend their money on, a product that's really well made. I mean, it's just a great game. Trust me, it's definitely going to be worth your time and your money. But that's pretty much it. That's a wrap. This was my little short video. I mean, if you consider like almost 25 minutes or over 25 minutes a short video, but I do because I could talk about Rainbow for hours. But this is, in short, why I love Rainbow and why I think you should try it. Buy it, play it, enjoy it. It's a great game. I mean, I realize it's not for everyone. I get it that not everyone's gonna enjoy the the quick deaths and the tactical nature of it. Some people just want to chill out and shoot some shit, and that's fine. But I think a lot of people would enjoy this game. They're just afraid of giving it a shot because they're afraid of sucking, and I understand that. But you know, I really, really like seeing new players in Rainbow. It's one of my favorite parts when I hop in a casual and I see someone who's level 25 doesn't know what they're doing. I find it amazing. It's like, see, we have a new member. That's nice. Um, but yeah, this was my little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That'll be pretty much for me, all for me, for today. If you're new here, please leave a like. If you liked the video, if you didn't, leave a dislike. Write in the comments what I can improve about my videos. Is my mic quality decent? Is is the gameplay good enough? Just give general advice on what I could do better, and I'll do my best to improve it for the next video, which I hope will come out soon. Also, if you like my content, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, because I'll be putting out content pretty soon, hopefully tomorrow or a few days after this one. So I'll see you guys then.